The American people should be given more information. They're ready for it. They can handle it. And they need and deserve to know it. Whether it's the president personally, he can't go on national TV every evening, but the Congress has an obligation as well to inform the American people.
Senator Richard Blumenthal's comments from February 16th are almost certainly not based on the 3 balloon-like objects that were recently shot down by fighter aircraft. Journalist Tim McMillan conveyed the following on February 17th. The entire Senate was given an all-encompassing briefing which went beyond just the 3 object shoot-downs and included briefings by Aero on UAP. Aero is not involved in the investigation of these 3 objects. So, contextually, what Senator Blumenthal was telling us is that the U.S. government knows a lot more about UAP, and they are not being forthright with the public. I believe this is a theme that will only grow with intensity as we progress in the year 2023, simply because it's factual. Just today, author Dan Zak wrote an article titled, "There's a ton of crap in the sky we haven't shot down yet. Drones, spy balloons, UFOs, or UAPs. American airspace has never been more crowded or mysterious." In it, Tim Galatit, a retired rear admiral, was quoted. Galatit, a former deputy NOAA administrator, is convinced that some UFOs spotted off the eastern seaboard have demonstrated capabilities that are not of human origin. Navy pilots have reported regular sightings of such objects corroborated by multiple sensors that seem to defy the capabilities of terrestrial engineering. Some are under the impression that elements within the Department of Defense are trying to conflate mundane UAP, such as what were recently shot down, with UAP that truly exhibit baffling technological capabilities. Journalist George Knapp was the first I saw to explore this idea. He responded to the following CNN segment that published on February 11th, I believe.
This is interesting. This is kind of unusual that these pilots saw different things, and that is sort of, I guess, adding to the mystery of all this.
Yeah, not even the pilots apparently were really able to identify what they saw. And just to take you back for a sec, on Thursday, the U.S. defense officials sent F-35 fighter jets up to try to figure out what this object was that was flying around near Alaska. Those pilots, we have learned, have given very conflicting accounts of what they actually experienced, with some pilots saying that the object interfered with the plane's sensors, other pilots saying that they didn't really experience that, other pilots saying that when they looked at the object, they could identify no identifiable propulsion system, and they did not know how it was actually staying in the air, cruising at that altitude of about 40,000 feet. So this has all added to the Pentagon's wariness of describing in more detail what this object actually is until they can get more information through the debris that they are recovering right now.
And here was his Twitter response to that segment. So, news outlets obtained statements from multiple military aviators within hours of the event? Really? That would be more amazing than the encounter itself. On February 14th, George Knapp, on his podcast Weaponize, elaborates further on what he perceives is elements within the Pentagon attempting to muddy the waters on UAP.
Absolute bullshit. There is no way in hell. You know, this happened Saturday, and by Sunday morning, we're seeing reports that the pilot said there was no visible means of propulsion. It interfered with our instruments. That is bullshit. There's no way that news reporters got access to those pilots within hours after them landing and encountering these things. I don't believe it.
So you've said, and look, I could be wrong. I don't know the exact timeline. I'm not able to look at news. My phone I can't even touch right now. We're having similar problems. But check this out. You do have a source, and your source said something really interesting to you. Or let's just say a friend. And if I get this right, your friend said to you, if this was it, and this is somebody in the position to know, I think that's all we can say. But they said to you, if this was a real UFO or UAP that we shot at, it would not be in the news. What do you make of that? And is that correct?
It is absolutely correct. So as soon as the Chinese balloon furor dropped down a little bit, we were in touch with people that we know to kind of get their take on how the whole story played out. And then the next episode happens where there's a unknown object shot down over Alaska. And The fact that they use those words, it's not an accident. That comes out of the Pentagon. Unknown object flying. They know how the public is going to react to that. So I reached out to some people that I know really well, and people can make their own guesses who that might be. And the statement back to me was very clear. If this was a real UAP, it would not be in the news. Flat out.
On February 17th today, Lou Elizondo released a statement regarding these UAP that have been shot down. Quote, "The recently publicized incursions of our sovereign airspace are a reminder of what I have been saying for years and the primary reason I resigned from my position as director of the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP. UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, are regularly flying with impunity in our nation's sovereign airspace and present an urgent national security threat. But individuals within our government remain staunchly opposed to properly investigating and acknowledging this matter. Many of these UAP display beyond next generation capabilities that defy what we know about physics, interfere with our military and nuclear platforms, and remain unidentified. We must ascertain the capability, intention, and origin of these UAP at all costs. We cannot allow the antiquated stigma around UAP or inflexible mindsets within our government to prevent the American people from learning the truth, whatever that may be. It is time for the White House, the intelligence community, and our military to truly begin taking this matter seriously and to start working together in the best interest of the American people. Thanks to patriotic leaders like Senator Rubio, Senator Gillibrand, Congressman Carson, Congressman Gallagher, Congressman Burchett, and their staffs and the members of our military who have reported what they've seen, we now have bipartisan support for positive change and recent UAP legislation in the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, that will pave the way. I am proud to have played a role in the creation of this historic legislation and remain deeply involved with the efforts to address this national security threat. Lou Elizondo, former director of ATIP." On February 16th, President Joe Biden gave a press conference on the Chinese spy balloon, in addition to the three most recent objects that were shot down.
But nothing right now suggests they were related to China's spy balloon program or that they were surveillance vehicles from any other country. The intelligence community's current assessment is that these three objects were most likely balloons tied to private companies, recreation or research institutions studying weather or conducting other scientific research.
So at best, the three objects that were shot down recently are glorified ninth grader science projects. And the information that journalist Natasha Bertrand was fed, and she spoke about what she was told in that earlier CNN clip I shared with you, to me what is clearly coming from an element within the Pentagon, or likely coming from an element within the Pentagon that just wanted to muddy the waters and create this illusion that when pilots report objects doing very unusual flight characteristics or interfering with their sensor collecting equipment, well, it might just be balloons. It's just a classic attempt to muddy the waters, but it won't succeed. There are too many people right now, too many people in the military, too many people, I would argue, in the Department of Defense, because it's not a monolith, too many people outside of the DOD with great influence, too many people altogether who are just, we're done. They're done. You're done. We're done. Tell the truth. No more muddying the waters. No more obfuscation. We see straight through it, baby. In the following clip, Ross Coulthart relayed on February 15th on the Need to Know podcast with Bryce Zabel that he heard that a senior commander of the Navy got in touch with the Biden administration to let them know that the U.S. Air Force is being misleading with UAP information. Let's play the clip.
Can I just quickly emphasize a point? You've talked about the clash between the Navy, the US Navy, and the US Air Force. I've made the point that the US Air Force is accused flatly by a former very senior defense official in an article 24 hours ago of essentially obstructing the public's right to know, of hindering UFO, UAP transparency. I'll go further. Is the White House interagency panel a response to something that the US Navy at a very high level has come to the White House about? Is there dissent between the US Air Force and the US Navy at a very high command level, such that possibly a senior commander of the US Navy has gone to the Biden White House and told them something?
You have couched that in a very specific and credible way as a question.
That's what I'm hearing.
Ross Coulthart further establishes this point.
But what if you are a senior US Navy commander and you become aware of things that the US Air Force is concealing criminally, improperly, illegally? I'll say that again. What if you become aware as a senior commander in the US Navy that crimes are being committed?
Now, I do hope the White House interagency panel that has recently been constructed is a move by the Biden administration to get a handle on the UAP issue, even when, let's say, the Pentagon does not want to cooperate. Having said that, I hope the following clip is not how President Biden approaches this time in history moving forward. He could be one of the most important presidents in U.S. history based upon the trajectory of the UAP issue during his term.
President Obama says that there is footage and records of objects in the skies, these unidentified aerial phenomenon, and he says we don't know exactly what they are. What do you think that it is?
I would ask him again. Thank you. Come on, boss, let's go.
As we move forward in the year 2023, there is one theme that you must internalize deeply into your soul, and that is the House of Cards is falling, baby. On February 19th, Christopher Sharp of Liberation Times published an article titled "The Pentagon's Silence on UFOs Threatens to Undermine President Biden." A link to it will be in the description, as well as the whole interview with Ross Coulthart and Bryce Zabel, which was quite good. Sources who have spoken to Liberation Times have claimed that a senior commander within the United States Navy has informed President Joe Biden of a UFO cover-up, which is damning of the United States Air Force. The claim was first made by Australian journalist Ross Coulthart on February 15th, 2023, through the podcast Need to Know, which he presents with writer and producer Bryce Zabel. Liberation Times understands that journalists are currently racing to verify the claims. If true and verified, then the White House will be left in a difficult position in a situation where it would look to minimize potential public panic. Further in the article, the communications approach taken by the Pentagon has previously been to the detriment of UAP advocates. But now, after a huge political and media storm created after 3 unidentified objects were shot down by the United States Air Force following the incursion of a Chinese balloon, the issue around UAP transparency has been elevated to the highest office in the land, President Joe Biden's office. Well, it looks like 2023 is off to a good start when it comes to those who are interested in UAP transparency. So we discontinue being lied about our place in the universe and can learn about non-human technology in our oceans and in our skies. Please do not forget to subscribe. If you'd like to support this channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. You could become a patron. You could become a YouTube member. You could give me a one-time donation. All those potentialities can be accessed in the description below, or you could just slap a like on this bad boy, and I will appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Special thanks to all patrons, YouTube members, those that have bought merch, those that have given me a one-time donation. I couldn't do without you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.